All right. Just a heads up. I have a lot of notes on this episode. Uh, a lot happens. Good and bad. Good and bad, definitely. It's an episode. I think that upward stride that we were hitting with the Kawa arc and everything else going on, like, I don't want to say it fizzled out in this episode, but the trend of okay, let's focus on a character for maybe like 2 episodes, and then going back into okay, now another character's at the forefront for 2 episodes, and it's it works in certain situations. I will say it kind of worked in this one better than it has in the past, but it's one of those things where it's like we're 44 episodes in. There's a lot of moving parts still going on with the story, and I just feel like as each episode finishes, like we have to there's gonna be like that, okay, well what about this hasn't been touched on, oh god, they're gonna rush to get that loose end tied up, or we're just not gonna even do anything with it. um but I will say, continue the trend, this did pick up where episode 43 left off, where we had Nan's father getting beat up based on my premium Baroba. Like, we knew it was gonna end well. We knew this fight, we knew it was gonna be very, like, let's face it, it's she's got the premium upgrade. And once that piano music kicked in, I was like, oh yeah, he's getting his ass beat. He's getting defeated here. It's gonna be something, to be seen. Uh, but his character growth through all of this season, like I said, I was shocked that he was gonna get like his own sort of like fatherly redemption arc. I didn't think that was gonna happen at all. Um, there's a whole scene where he even proclaimed, he was going to protect his daughter and he won't let it happen again, implying Akari's death. And even, Nam points out, like, I'm not even your real daughter, and that she's not Akari. And I like that he, like, just interrupts her and says that she is, that Nan is his daughter. And I'm like, and he even claims, that she helped him find his love for others. And he actually finally looks at her and says he loves her. And I was like, okay, like, who the hell is cutting onions in my apartment right now? Because, like, yeah, that was a good scene. I really enjoyed that. And I was like, that was really good. And I do like that, Nan's, she's got the wire tie, whatever, zip tie, she breaks free. And, you know, Broba had just went for like the kill shot, and the dad jumped in the way, obviously. But I think there's a subtle little like scene there where Nan gets free and she goes to like up behind her dad and puts her arm on his arm, her hand on his arm, and he sees where there's blood on her arms from the zip tie, and he basically takes out the kidnapping dude with the finishing strike. And then I find Baroba is not really that interesting of a character to me. Because even she's just like, oh, this is boring, and she leaves. It's like, well, why? I want, like, I wanted like that fight. Obviously, we get it later on with Neon, but like I wanted Time Fire to just like go in and like get some land some blows in there, but that didn't happen. Like I said, when some things to start doing it right now, I really don't enjoy a lot of the Ace and Michinaga interactions when they're together anymore. Like, I liked it when they were like antagonistic. I don't like this whole they're kind of buddy buddy, working together, and Michinaga, you know, I don't know, suds off with his character. And I like his character. I like Buffa. But this something's just not doing it right now. And you know, obviously they both came to this conclusion that, they could have technically saved Sarah if they had found Daichi's little tree of knowledge or whatever, and that Keiwa's new rule technically ruined that. But they keep reiterating stuff, so we don't forget that, Jito is the one that's manipulating Keiwa. like, and that they need to get Subaru back. And I they're really making it obvious that it's coming down to like Sumri or Ace, because Jito once again is talking to Sumri, and he even says that a god needs followers for them to have power, and that Geats being isolated is making him weaker. And like I said, they just keep beating like certain information over and over into your head, because Sumeri once again wants a world where everyone is happy and not wanting to be the goddess of creation. And once again, because Ace is still around, that's helping her cling to like her humanity and not wanting to be the goddess of creation. And I'm like, okay, we get it. All right, I get it. Like, it's fine. But somebody needs to explain to me, because Baroba and Kekura have oranges, and neither one of them are eating it. I'm like, the oranges appeared. It's been how many episodes since I've seen the oranges? Never forgot about it. The oranges are back. And I'm just like, so who's eating them? Is it Baroba who's eating them? Kekura, maybe it is avatar form? I don't know. Keiwa's not eating them. I've never seen Keiwa ingest any citrus this season. So, I want to know who is eating those damn oranges. It's the biggest plot hole in this whole entire season, obviously. Like, I'm not letting it go. I need a V cinema going over the oranges. Oh, that'd be so horrible. I don't. The one thing I don't get about Keiwa's character right now is because, you know what? He had such a bond with Neon, and that he really barely was angry at all when he found out that, like, Baroba, that, like, everyone, they kidnapped her. Like, nothing. And, Kakura just easily goats Keiwa into everything. He's like, you could have your ideal world again. All you have to do is take out Geats. And I'm just like, we get it. You're setting up Keiwa versus Ace. All right. But, like, come on now. Like, we don't need it repeated every, like, couple scenes. And I still don't understand Michinaga volunteering his very, very underpowered zombie form to go after Keiwa. Obviously, there's a discrepancy in their power levels. I do like how Michinaga is now saying that, like, basically it's Keiwa's fault, because there's a way to bring back Sarah, and he kind of ruined that. Like, and Keiwa, it's he beats. I don't know. Like, at first I was like, oh, cool, gang leader Keiwa. Like, he's salty. It's that. Now I'm just like, he just comes across as, like, even though he has an OP form right now, as a character he's coming across as weak because he's so easily manipulated. It's like obnoxiously obvious. It's not even subtle anymore. I do like the fight though. I do. This fight caught me by surprise because I assumed that Kay was just gonna beat the crap out of Michinaga again, but instead we got some great scenes where Buffa used the revolve on two separate occasions to dodge attacks to, like, his head and everything else while still attacking. And I was like, you know what? Like, he had the upper hand for about like 5 seconds too, and I was like, that's not too bad. But obviously, he loses. Okay, he loses. Let's face it. And this is like one of those things where I'm just like, man, like, why? And but he brought up the valid points, and the seeds are planting for Keiwa to finally realize he's being manipulated, because he even asks how Keiwa could turn a blind eye to what happened to Neon, and questions that Keiwa only cares about his own happiness and not that of others. And I was like, okay, because and that's the thing, like, his new in this arc, his personality, he does seem very selfish, and because he just wants to revive his family. He doesn't care, because he even says, he goes back to Jito and Tsubiri, and he's like, here's my new wish, just revive my family. Whatever happens to anyone else, I could care less. And even Tsubiri asks, like, what happened is, like, will that wish really make him happy? And I was like, oh, of course. And she was like, then why do you still look so miserable? And she even asked, where's this yearning for world peace that he used to have? I just think he's blinded by his emotions, but at the same time, just the obvious low amount of effort being put to manipulate him is also very like shocking, I guess you could say. Uh, and like I said, I've done a lot of complaining about a lot of this arc. With everything like this, should have been like in the early 30s instead of the now almost mid 40s. Um, but man, the long game of storytelling for Nan and her family. All right, it's hitting good. This is one of the things that's hitting good in the show right now, because Time Fire's in the hospital. Nan's waiting around. Her mother shows up, like stumbles, falls, goes and gives her a hug. Even Nan's shocked, and you know, even Nan once again brings up once again, I'm not really your daughter, and even her mother hits her with the whole line of their time spent together, her feelings, this and that, were real. It doesn't matter, and I like this heartfelt family moment. They're all in the hospital room, and Time Fire hands Nan his ID core and says it was his deepest wish that she finds happiness. And I'm sitting once again, I'm like, man, there's too many onions in my apartment being cut right now, because that was a good scene. That was a good scene, and I don't I don't get Baroba going after Nan right now. I know she wants to see the ultimate despair, or is that the tagline for Danganronpa? I don't remember, but I don't like that. Like, she went from antagonizing Michinaga now to Nan, and it's just like, stay in your lane. You were Michinaga's sponsor. Like, go, or supporter. Go bother him. Like, but she did confront Baroba, and even Baroba's just laughing. Like, what are you gonna do with an ID core? It's not even yours. You can't transfer ID cores. And I noticed that Baroba goes for an attack, and these glowing pillars, you know, stop it. And Nan's ID core, her father's ID core, changes to hers, and I was like, oh, those little pillars look familiar. That blue, that's not from the driver. And I like Nan has a new henshin pose. I think having an upgrade form, or new form, final form, whatever, you should have a new pose. Kayla's pose changed, even though he had a whole character change. Nan's new pose, very nice. I like this fantasy form. I do. And I didn't know the fantasy buckle like gave her like these phasing powers. Like, I know Nago's supposed to be a cat, but I didn't know like we're now. I'm gonna call her Kamen Rider Kitty Pryde. I know it's a deep cut X-Men joke, but like, yeah, because she basically has Kitty Pryde's like phasing abilities, this that. And I thought like all the fighting and the shifting powers. Like, I was like thumbnail bait for days. I was like, damn, how am I gonna pick a thumbnail? Because these are all good. And even with the finishing strikes and everything else, they were doing like scenes where it's like the scene, this would be black background, and you would see the glowing of Nan's eyes, a lighting effect for the slash, back and forth. And I was like, I like when they add in effects and details like this. It's like when Kawa with the Bujin sword was doing the strikes, it kind of looked like they were doing the paint brush strokes around the screen. I like that so much. And I like that Nan beat Baroba, but Baroba still gets away. And obviously, we had to add in some extra context scenes and foreshadowing, because Baroba's in a back alley collapsing. Michinaga shows up, and he even asks her how her own despair tastes. And I like how as she looks in the mirror, like, you can kind of get like maybe a teaser at what her true form looks like. And yeah, I was like, all right, this was a cool. But then before everything closes out, Nan's now part of the team again. We find out that Nan knew Ace had helped her because those pillars were from his Boost Mark 9 form, because those are little tail thingies. And it was also him that gave her the power to hench again. And he even says it was her parents' wish that gave him the power to do that. And I was like, I still want to know what these power, like the full rules to his power. Because we had Jito earlier in the episode saying, God without followers loses power. So Geats being isolated, his powers are going to wear out, are weakening. But now that Nan joins up, He has another follower. Nan's parents as well. And the only time the NDGP card, which I haven't talked about in ages, that really constitutes towards it, it says uh, that that a strong wish could basically help activate Geats' power. So, with how strong Nan's father's wish was, so I assume, not Nan's there, like the more people that like kind of join up or with Ace, he's gonna get more powerful. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But obviously, the main thing that's gonna happen is we're gonna get Kayla and Geats or Ace with their showdown. That's the thing. I didn't hate this episode, honestly. I think it's good. I think I can't really judge fully how these episodes are because they're building up to stuff. So it's more or less like I enjoyed it, but I'll enjoy it less if some of the stuff ends up being plot holes. I will enjoy it more if it pays off. So for right now, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, instead of, I'm not judging each individual episode. This is going towards like my overall opinion of the show, depending on how this ends. But as of right now, I am enjoying it. Like I think this was a more action heavy episode, with a lot of heartfelt, good story for Nad's character. So because she's found the love she wanted this whole entire time. It's from her parents. She finally got that, and I think, you know, does her wish change then? Now that she's in the DGP, or does she still want to find her true love? That's the thing. So, for all intents and purposes, like her arc, her story, she's gotten her character growth, she's got her family now. So it's like, okay, one less like thread and plot line that can be resolved fairly simple. That's it for my review of episode 44 of Kamen Rider GEATS. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. We're in the end game, basically. So I'm curious what's going to happen next. Obviously, outside of the Ace and Kayla fight. But I thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.